Episode 3, Lena Pov subtitle. The monster behind the silver eyes, I knew his face. That was the first thing. Before I understood anything else, before my brain caught up with what my eyes were seeing, I knew his face the way you know the shape of a nightmare you have had so many times it has worn grooves into your sleep. I was 8 years old when I last saw it. I had been hiding under my parents' bed, pressed flat against the floor, barely breathing, while men moved through our house. My mother had pushed me under there with shaking hands and one whispered instruction: "Do not come out no matter what you hear." I heard a lot. I did not come out. In the morning, my parents were gone. 2 weeks later, my Aunt Mara came and took me away and told me there had been an accident. I was 8. I believed her because I needed to. But I had seen his face through the crack under the bedroom door. Just for a second, just enough. Silver eyes, a jaw like stone, dark hair. I had drawn it in the margins of every notebook I owned for 3 years after, trying to get it exactly right, trying to give the nightmare a shape I could look at in daylight and make smaller. It never got smaller. And now he was standing in front of me with his hand on my shoulder, and 300 wolves parting around him like water around a rock, and I understood with absolute cold certainty exactly who this man was. Zane Ashford. The Lycan King. My lungs stopped cooperating. He looked down at me, and his silver eyes moved across my face, not unkindly, not cruelly, just completely, and with the kind of attention that made me feel like he was reading something written there that I didn't know about. His hand dropped from my shoulder. Then he turned to face the ceremony circle. His voice when he spoke was not loud. He did not need it to be. It carried the way thunder carries. You feel it in your chest before you fully process it with your ears. I will take her. 4 words. The entire pack stopped breathing. Priya made a sound, half laugh, half disbelief. "I'm sorry, who are you two?" One of the wolves near her grabbed her arm and pulled her back, fast, and bent to whisper in her ear. I watched the color leave Priya's face in stages. Her mouth closed. Caleb had turned around. He was staring at Zane with an expression I had never seen on him before, not quite fear. Something worse, the look of someone who has just realized the size of a mistake they cannot take back. "Good," said a small, ugly part of me. I was ashamed of that part for exactly 1 second before I let it go. Zane was still facing the crowd. Not performing, not posturing, just standing there, and somehow the simple fact of him standing there made every other wolf in the clearing seem to shrink a half-inch. Our alpha, a big man who had never once seemed uncertain in my lifetime, cleared his throat. "Your Majesty, with respect, this is a pack matter. The girl she is unclaimed," Zane said. The rejection was just spoken. "She is unclaimed, she is unprotected, and I am invoking the right of claim under Lycan law." He paused. "Do you need me to recite the relevant chapter and verse, or will you take my word for it?" The alpha did not answer. Zane turned back to me. Up close, I could see things I had not been able to see from under a bed at the age of 8. A scar along his jaw, thin, old, burned. The way his silver eyes were not flat, the way I had always imagined in nightmares, but layered, like there were things moving behind them. The fact that he was looking at me right now, not like a problem to be solved or a political piece to be moved, but like he was genuinely, carefully trying to figure out how I was. I hated that. I wanted him simple. I wanted him easy to hate. "You're him," I said. My voice came out steadier than I deserved. "Zane Ashford." Something shifted in his expression. "Yes, you killed my parents." The clearing was so silent I could hear the fire crackling 20 feet away. He did not deny it. He did not flinch. He held my gaze and said, "That is something I need to speak to you about." A sound came out of me, not quite a laugh. "That's what you have to say?" "Not here." His voice was low just for me. "Not in front of them. But yes, I have things I need to say to you, and I would like the chance to say them somewhere you are not about to collapse from exhaustion and shock." I opened my mouth to tell him I was absolutely not about to collapse. My knees chose that exact moment to dip. His hand came out, not grabbing, not pulling, just there steadying me at the elbow before I went down. The contact lasted 2 seconds. That was all. But Ember reacted like she had been struck by lightning. My wolf surged up from wherever she lived inside me and pressed toward that point of contact with every ounce of her small, new strength, and the feeling that moved through my chest was not fear, and not anger, and not anything I had a safe name for. "Stop," I told her. "That is the man who killed our parents. Stop." Ember did not stop. She just went very, very still, waiting. Zane released my elbow and stepped back. He looked at me for one more long moment, and then he did something I had not expected. He held out his hand. Palm up, open, patient, not demanding, not commanding. He was asking. The Lycan King, the most feared man in the supernatural world, was standing in front of 300 wolves and holding out his hand and waiting to see what I would do. Every rational thought I had said the same thing. Do not take it. He killed your parents. He is dangerous. You do not know his reasons. You do not know his game. You are exhausted and freshly rejected, and your wolf is not in a state to be trusted right now. Do not take it. Ember pressed her nose against my ribs from the inside. I looked at his open hand. I looked at Caleb, who had already turned his back again. I looked at Priya, who was watching with sharp, waiting eyes. I looked at 300 wolves who had just watched me get destroyed and done nothing. Then I looked at Zane's silver eyes one more time, and I reached out and put my hand in his. The end of episode 3. Like, share, and subscribe.